Hey, this is Tired Tech Girl. I just wanted to talk about autism in tech and outing yourself as autistic and how it's not necessarily always a good idea. My experience in previous roles has been people think they understand, but they won't stop um, doing the things which are your triggers, and they won't moderate their own behavior around you. They will do things like talk slower. They will um, they will treat you like you don't understand social interactions, which I do. I've been watching people my whole life, and I understand what's going on socially actually like really well, like often quite a lot better than many people who would say that they're neurotypical. I can read the room better than a lot of executives who are very definitely neurotypical. um, I also get this thing where people latch onto it and they want to be autistic. Like, they think autism is a superpower and they want to flag that they're autistic too. Oh, I do that. Oh, I do that. And I can get like copied like by some people who are pretending to have the traits that I have to um, to seem smart, because I am smart. Um, but it's quite often people will like edit social behaviors to like not talk about things in front of you because you're autistic. Like, um, I don't particularly like change, but that's not one of the reasons why I'm often opposed to change. As a senior tech professional, I don't like change because you have to do change management, darlings, and that is a lengthy and time consuming, often costly process, which can be stopped at the source if you just pay attention to what you're doing. Um, and quite a lot of my caution and attention to detail, and they don't even say out loud. They just kind of mentally flag it as, oh, that's Melanie, that's her autistic behavior. It's not. I'm being prudent. I'm also senior, so I'm telling you that you need to do this, this, and this in order to meet these obligations and to be ready on time for this. And like, even yeah, it's not just managers, it's junior colleagues as well who will, it does undermine your authority, and that for some reason they don't trust you, the autistic person, to tell them about your issues or your behaviors, because it is disabling sometimes. Usually for me, it's most disabling after a sustained period of work, which, to be fair, like, most neurotypical people would not be able to sustain either. Like, I've been going for a month of working weekends and evenings, often till early hours in the morning, trying to get this brief, which is really undefined, finished. And it's easy for people to frame it as, it's my mistake, you should have reached out for clarification, which is very odd because I always reach out for clarification, or that you didn't use your initiative when I have lots of creativity and initiative, or you didn't manage your time effectively. No, what's often wrong is that the brief is undefined. You didn't think it through, and you offloaded that. You delegated the thinking to me, and I did the thinking, and you came up wanting. And I've learnt to be expressive about that, and not like, if like the third time like I bring it up, I'm not as patient, then I don't see that as a problem. There's a big thing about my autism that makes me find it more difficult in work is I believe in real work. Like, I think that when you're working, you should be moving a situation forward, or sustaining a situation, or making something happen, or doing stuff. Whereas for other people, the social performance of work is enough. And because I tend to work in startups where it is actually essential to build the product, do the thing, and I've chosen to do that, and that's why I like working in startups, because it's essential to do the thing. When people think that they can fluff it and fake it, then I am not happy with that situation. So I guess, but I'm not like, I think I have a reputation for being short with people, but really I just want to get things done and move things forward, and I'm only the same amount of short with people as managers and CEOs are with me, except it's somehow allowed for them. And because I've said I'm autistic, it's not okay to be angry with people who don't do their jobs, and it's not okay with people to be, for me to be angry with people who exploit my attention to detail or focus, or make me work incredibly long hours to deliver projects, which ends up being, most of the creative contribution is coming from me. So yeah, and I don't see the point in wasting time. Like, if I can see that it's going to take 6 months to do nothing, and in the end it was a bad idea, I don't want to do that, which I think is reasonable. I think a lot of Gen Z people feel exactly the same. If they can see that something is going nowhere, they don't want to be part of it, which is absolutely fair. And I'm on the millennial side, where all my working life I've just grown up with this idea that work is its own benefit, that it's its own so that we must do work, and we must give way to our betters who will tell us what to do and guide us. And that's another part of the autism thing. I do fall prey to those people who believe that they are, that they're better. They have access to funding and education and the social benefits of, I think class still exists. I think that I'm not the same class as very many people that I end up working with, and that they tend to not have an idea of how much work is necessary to do something, or how much they are being sustained by people lower down the chain. So yeah. But then, so back to my original point, like when you disclose your autism, for some people, because they don't have that empathy, like it's the double empathy problem again. Like they're not able to see what it must be like for you to experience them experiencing you. And they can't see that they're being really patronizing, that they're assuming that you're less intelligent than they are, and that they have a kind of parental duty to take the controls of your work situation, or the current social interaction, which and that annoys me. I think that I have some kind of pervasive drive for autonomy. In fact, I'm almost sure I do. I don't like people trying to like manage me into doing tasks that I already understood. And I very much don't like people trying to edit my social interactions and manage them and be a kind of cushion between me and neurotypical people who might get offended by how I present. I'm not I'm not cool with people being comfortable with treating me like a fucking bollard. It's not. And this happens all the time. And then when I'm upset about something, it becomes because you're autistic, man. You're autistic. You didn't understand is something that I get told a lot. And quite frankly, I used to believe people, but I don't anymore. Quite often it was them that didn't understand, that the other person, particularly in kind of business meetings, that the other person was taking advantage of them and us. Particular example was a manager of an investment bank who tried to trick my company into showing them how to build our software, and I was not happy with him, and I was not going to pretend that I couldn't see what was happening in the call, and I did not want to make his life easy, and I had a great opportunity in front of his tech team to tell him how stupid he was, and I did, because sometimes you have to stand up for yourself. And this is the thing, that autistic people standing up for ourselves is frowned upon and maybe seen as dangerous or aberrant to social situations. I don't care. Like, I'm me. I'm entitled to take up space and express myself. And I also know what's going on. Like, I may know it in a different way than you do, but that doesn't make it wrong. And quite often, in fact, almost 100% of the time, I am proved right about how people were really feeling in those meetings. So I think my advice is, if you're autistic and you can get away with not disclosing, then don't, because people will put you in a box of this thing that they have to handle with kid gloves and they can't help themselves. They will just talk down to you. And it's especially frustrating when I'm solving people's problems and I'm showing them how to do stuff, I'm building them tools to make their lives easier, I'm explaining technical processes and audit processes and compliance processes and teaching them how to run a business, and they're talking to me like I am, yeah, well, like I'm lesser, like my brain is somehow shrunken in my skull, that there's less behind my eyes than there is other people's. And for me to be aware of that and them to not be aware of themselves is such a weird sensation, because then it becomes me trying to empathetically and kindly manage their thing, which is taking them a lot less mental effort than me. I am burning twice the mental candles or gummies or whatever. Like, I'm using twice the mental energy that they are just to sustain the conversation, because I'm managing their view of me. And I know that they're frightened that I will make a social mistake, and I'm frightened quite often because they already have made a social mistake. And that's the thing as well. Like, the neurotypicals have this idea that you can't make a social mistake to an autistic person. And I honestly, I don't know how they come to that conclusion, but they don't think they can. And they do all the fucking time. Like, so in order for people to treat me like an intelligent human, someone who is at least their intellectual equal and social equal, I tend not to disclose. And in my last position I did disclose, and I regret it intensely. They were not able, or they didn't have the level of empathy or social skills to help or to make my experience easier. They were just a pain in the ass, and I would counsel people, unless you're in an extremely understanding and non-ableist environment of highly empathetic, high social intelligence people, do not disclose your autism.